Multiplying monomials by polynomials. So remember, monomials are just like polynomials are just one term, and then we're going to multiply by larger polynomials, whether they're trinomials or binomials. We're going to kind of multiply that. So here we go. Multiply the following monomials by the polynomials by distributing. Okay. So here we go. So distributing is just multiplying when we distribute. So this 2x, we're multiplying it to the x squared plus 4x minus 8. So the 2x is going to multiply to all the terms in here. We're multiplying the 2x by that entire polynomial. And we do this by a term we call distributing, which is really just kind of fancy for saying multiplying. So 2x times x squared. This is like a 2x, remember, times like a 1x squared. And remember, this is like a 2x to the first, right? So the 2 times the 1 is just 2. And then x to the first times x to the second, and x to the first times x to the second. By our exponent rules, we know to add those exponents. That's going to be x to the third. I don't want to muddy that up too much. So the x to the first times the x to the second is going to be x to the third. We add the exponents when we multiply terms with the same base, right? Now the 2x times the 4x, well, 2 times 4 is 8. Just multiply the coefficients. And then x to a first times another x to the first. 1 plus 1, we add the exponents, is 2. So it's going to be x to the second. Now the 2 times the negative 8 is negative 16. And the 8 doesn't have an x with it, so there's nothing to really add that x to the first with in terms of the exponents. So we're just going to tack that x on. Okay, b. So now we're multiplying negative 3x squared. So negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. X to the second times another x to the second. Remember, we add the exponents. 2 plus 2 is 4. Remember, this is like a hidden coefficient of 1 on that. So negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. X to the second times an x to the first. Remember, we're distributing here. I should have drawn my arrows. X to the second times x to the first is x to the third. And lastly, negative 3x squared times 4. Well, negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And then the x squared just gets tacked on that one. Okay, I'm going to skip C and D for you to do. I'm going to jump on to E. Now, E, we have x to the third. It doesn't have a coefficient, so we don't have to worry about multiplying any numbers in front. But x to the third times x to the fourth. Remember, we're doing x to the third times x to the fourth. When we add the exponents in that situation, that's going to be x to the seventh. The second term is still going to have that 3 coefficient, but the x to the third times the x to the second would be x to the fifth. And then this is still just a negative quantity, like a negative 1. Remember, there's like a negative 1 hidden there. X to the third times x to the first would be x to the fourth. Remember, we add the exponents. Okay, F, let me do that one too. And we're going to distribute. So negative 2x times x to the fourth would be negative 2x to the fifth. Negative 2 times 3/4, that would be negative 6/4, which is negative 3/2. And again, you can write that all out or use a calculator. It's really up to you. Looks like it froze again. Okay, we're good. Sorry. Oh, what the heck? There we go. Sorry. And then negative 2x times negative 1. Well, negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 with an x on it. Now let me show you a couple where we actually have multiple variables. So we have an x and y involved in this. So I'm going to distribute the 3x squared, the 3xy squared to the terms inside the parentheses. So the 3 has nothing really to multiply with. I guess you can call that a 1x to the 4th. So it's just going to be 3. Now this x to the first times x to the 4th is going to make x to the 5th. So we do the x's together and we do the y's together. So that y to the 2 and the y to the 1 is going to make y to the 3. Okay. 3 times 2 is 6. And then x to the first times another x to the first is going to make x to the second. And that y to the second times y to the third is going to make y to the 5th. And that's it. Show you another one, J. So there's that negative in front, like a -1. So that's going to come with it. So the x to the third times x to the second is going to be x to the 5th. Y to the first times y to the third is going to be y to the 4th. Now this -1 basically times the 4 is going to be -4 now. It's going to be a -4 as our coefficient on that term. Now there is no x with this term I'm highlighting right here, right? There's no x with it. So this x to the third is still going to come with it. It just has nothing to combine with. And that y to the first times y to the third, y to the first times y to the third would be y to the 4th. And there you have it. I'm just going to do one more. I'm going to do n. So n just has an 2/3 x squared. There's no y we're distributing here. So when I distribute the 2/3 x squared, the 2/3 is going to come with it for that first term because we're just kind of multiplying it by 1. X squared times x to the first is x to the third. And then that y squared is still there. There was just nothing to distribute to it. 2/3 times 12 would be 8. And x squared times x would be x to the third. 2/3 times 1/2 would be 1/3. Again, with the fractions, you just use your calculator or do it by hand. And then the x squared is going to come with it. There's no x on this, and the y is still going to be there. So that's that one. Okay, I'll leave the rest to you.